I look at it as a 3-step process. The first, obviously, is determining that you want to get cannabis as a medical cannabis, and then going on and finding a provider who is willing to certify you. Ideally, that would be your primary care physician, or even a pain management doctor. Anyone that you see for that specific condition should be initially the person, ideally the person who's certifying you. If a patient was to run into, which a lot of people do, the situation that we just talked about where their provider is not willing to certify them, then you would go find someone like me, myself. Several dispensaries offer lists of providers that they are affiliated with. And so I would say that's a good place to start to figure out who's going to do your certification. Looking at the website and sort of seeing what type of information is on there, I think is important. I think looking at the price points is important. And if you also asking questions, even though I still have a 9-to-5 job, I think people that are uncertain when they send me an email or they click the contact me button, it puts a real person behind the website. And so having that interaction and just seeing how they answer your question and things like that, just like you
the
would
willingness and ability to actually speak and have an interaction.
Yes. Some people, if they have a physical space, have bills, that would be one reason. Another reason may be the team that they have. So if it's a larger company that has to outsource, so they have to pay for the platform, they have to pay for the providers, things like that. So you don't get all the money, it's divided up. So in order to make it worth the healthcare provider's while, then they charge more because it has to be divvied up. So, and then for myself, it was definitely a struggle for me to charge my price. And initially, I just felt oh, this is not worth, am I worth somebody spending that amount of money for me to certify them? And then what I had to realize is the amount of information that I'm getting, they're probably not getting from anywhere else. And the amount of energy that I'm expending, my energy is valuable, my time is valuable. And so I think really being able to go through that personally and know that when I get timid and I'm oh, it's cost this amount, people are okay, the amount of information that you gave me, I will pay that again. And I'm okay. Because they want you to have that relationship. So that in turn turned into people coming multiple times. And then once they figured out that you can charge for each time they come, because technically if we were billing for insurance, each time you come into the office, you get billed. So it's sort of, and the fact that it's a cash business, then that made it more lucrative. And then the fact that depending on the neighborhood and the socioeconomic status of the people that you're around, you can charge what you charge because they're going to pay it. So it's a couple different things that factor in. I think those are, yeah.
Is there any part of it that is ever covered by insurance, or are there any doctors who, you can get forms?
I think there are some companies that use insurance. Like I said, if you go through your primary or a doctor that you already see, at the visit, because you're seeing them, and if they complete the document at that time, then that would be covered under your insurance. But like personally, insurance is just, when you're starting a business, insurance doesn't pay.
Yeah, I've heard
They
that.
take a long time to get reimbursement. And so, and it's that's like a job in and of itself. And being a small business and like a solo practitioner,
Right.
it just, to me, it wasn't worth it at that time. So
Then you need somebody to like chase down the insurance payments. You need a medical biller or whatever.
Exactly. You need a biller. You need to be registered with all of the insurance companies. That takes like months, like 6 months. So it's something that's easy to get off the ground as a cash business.
Gotcha.
So for myself, the total visit is $200. So I have on my website, you can register, schedule your consultation visit, and it's a $50 deposit at that time that goes toward the total payment. And part of the reason why I do a deposit is because, like I said before, my time is valuable, your time is valuable. And so working in healthcare, you know, people make appointments, they don't show up, and then that's a space lost. So it kind of ensures both of us that we are committed to this process. Then we have the consultation visit, which is about 30 minutes, depending how many questions a person has, but usually about 30 minutes is the average. And we discuss a lot of things, different methods of consumption. We talk about like the qualifying condition. Some patients come to me knowing what the condition is. Others are not sure if they have one. And like I said earlier, being an internal medicine doctor, I'm very comfortable with diagnosing someone. So if you tell me your symptoms, then I can then say, okay, that's what this is. I did have to, some of the diagnoses that are on the list are so rare. And I was like, I had to do research. I was like, I haven't read this since medical school. Let me get a book and figure out what this is.
Whenever I'm giving a class, I always say, like, look, I put the list up, right? And I'm like, I don't know what this stuff is. Like, I highlight the ones that we know what they are. And I always say, well, but I leave those other ones up there and on the list because it's a blessing that I don't know what it is. But somebody in my audience knows exactly what that is. And they're like, yo, my myasthenia gravis, you know, whatever.
Myasthenia gravis.
Girl, they're like, ooh, my myasthenia gravis has been acting up all week. And you're like, oh, well, look, there's relief for you. So